thank you TEDxTMUCI for having me again. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm super nervous, like I am before every TED or every talk that I do, but it's something really important that I'd like to talk about. My name is Hajra, and I am the captain of Pakistan national football team. I am the first Pakistani to be signed abroad and play in a foreign club. I am also the UNICEF Minister of Health, Hygiene Management Ambassador, and I'm also part of the UN Women Beat Me campaign that we were fighting against violence against women and children. And I would also say, strong enough to kick all sorts of balls. But we're having a lot of problems. But it's important, right? So now I would call myself an empowered or a secure and accomplished woman, but I do have experienced forms of sexual harassment. And but what is sexual harassment? What is sexual harassment? We throw this word here and there all the time, but what is sexual harassment? Sexual harassment is any act that is verbal or non-verbal, which is unwelcomed, inappropriate, and extremely offensive to whoever it's been, formed at. Now, how many of you, if you could please raise your hands, how many of you have experienced some sort of sexual harassment? Now, there's like 3 hands. Some might not want to share, so you can blink. Right? There you go. So 90% of the people in this room have been sexually harassed, men or women, but will not speak up. Why is that? I mean, you guys all look physically fit. Doesn't seem like, you guys have had any sort of issues. Have you been raped? That's a very big word that I use here. But rape also lies on the same spectrum as sexual harassment. It's the extreme right that I would say. What about the other end of the spectrum? Where we're talking about inappropriate behavior and sexual harassment and all the tiny bits that happen. What about that ignored part? Why do we talk about rape? Or when a child in a underserved community is goes through something like that, or a high-profile celebrity talks about it? Why do we ignore this? This side of the spectrum that I say is if a woman walks around, you commenting on her or somebody, does that fall on the spectrum as well? Because it is harassment, we're talking about sexual harassment, and it's all on the spectrum. How we kind of deal with this, we'll come back to it later, but I would like to share an experience that recently happened with me, personally. So I was invited to this dinner at a very good friend's house, and I go in, it was the husband and the wife, right? They're inviting me for a dinner. And I enter the house, and I'm just shutting the door behind me, while the husband comments, saying, "That's a great jacket. Maybe you should have covered a bit of your butt as well." And he said it in Urdu, which I will translate because it sounds way more cruder. He said, "Jacket to bahut achhi pehni hai, thodi si tui bhi chupa leti." Right? Now all of you, see, everybody knows this word, and it's not a very nice word. I mean, it's in all means very inappropriate. Right? So I was shocked, I was quiet, I didn't speak about it, but then I'm at dinner, but the problem that kind of also shocked me to another level was that the wife said, "Haha, that's his favorite word nowadays." So she just completely ignored what happened and also gave into it, right? I'm sitting at dinner, I'm like, zombied out and just sitting there eating my food, paralyzed. And so the next day I tell my friend, I conveyed to her, I was like, hey, this comment made by your husband last night, I found it very inappropriate, and I was kind of offended by it, and I just thought I'd bring to your notice. And she said it was no way sexual. It wasn't like he wasn't implying it. It was not of a sexual nature, and I didn't even use the word sexual harassment. All I said was it was very inappropriate for me, and I was offended. And she said, okay, I've conveyed the message to my husband, and he'll deal with it. Now, how he dealt with it is, I will show you here. Can you play the picture, please? Has some harsh language, so excuse me, but I will read it now. "This is not the first time when a misguided, materialistic, insecure braggart has accused me of harassment. You are an agent of the free market system, and you're supposedly Muslim as well. How dare you call yourself a feminist? It's hypocritical. And to accuse me of sexual harassment, there was nothing sexual about that. Inappropriate behavior does not amount to sexual harassment. I am an anti-theist, a Marxist, and a feminist, and you are a fucking charlatan, bitch." So, this is how this man tried or dealt with inappropriate behavior when I called out. This is what happens when you call out, right? So the first time you say no, this is not going to happen. But if you don't say no, because in a society like ours, where women from whenever we're growing up, we're told to compromise and we're told to suck it up and let it be, just stay quiet. This is what happens when you stand up. The first time you ignore it, the second time you ignore it, the perpetrator is trying to test your limits of how far you can go, right? It happens everywhere. It's happening in corporate offices, it's happening on football fields and physiotherapist rooms, it's happening on TV sets, it's happening everywhere, right? So you have to stand up for the one. And when you do not, there's a first attempt, there's a second attempt, third attempt is sexual harassment, right? It could be anything. And then, especially women, because we try, some of the very high-performing women who try to not just go with the flow or pick up careers that are out, or like in male-dominant, excuse my thing because I'm like a super anxious person. I eat my words, apologize. So for me, for instance, if I'm trying to be a football player, or if somebody is trying to, go to a position of a CEO, or getting or an engineering, or career, just generally any career where the hierarchy is very male dominant, say, right? It happens everywhere because we have that drive to get there, but we have to climb that ladder where on every ladder there's somebody, a man, because it is about inequality, it is about gender inequality. It will try to bring you down, or will try to take advantage of the fact that you will give in because you want to get there so bad. And it is really important to stand up at that point. Why women don't do it is because if she's a general manager and she's soon to be, COO, soon to be COO, and if she calls out on sexual harassment or inappropriate behavior, she will most likely be fired. And when she goes to another company, they will not hire her because the word is out now. And nobody wants a label of a woman because it's everywhere. Basically, right? Why I say women? Because I speak from an experience of a woman. It's very close to me. I cannot speak for a man, for any man for that matter. But a lot of men also have been sexually harassed. I'm kind of losing where I was. Yeah, generally just summing it up. How do we stop this? How do we, eradicate this whole situation that's happening? How do we stop this? What do we do, right? Because it just keeps happening. You deal with this part, it's happening at the back of already, right? So I'd like to start from like a professional solution to this. Is what I believe it should be is that every company, every hierarchy in a business or a corporate office, or any kind of a company, there should be a balance of men and women in higher positions. Not because it will eradicate the entire thing, but it will bring to notice. It will kind of demotivate those, because the women, when dealt with women, they know what's going on, right? It happens. A woman, a CEO might be harassing a man, young down there, maybe he's good looking. It happens, but then creating a balance on every level will sort of be a movement, a dialogue towards eradicating the entire issue on a corporate level or on a professional level. Because hota is we kind of discriminate, we kind of don't keep in mind where, if I'm dressed at a New Year's party, talking about whatever, is going to be different, including my attire, than I am at a 10 a.m. meeting at office, even if it's with the same people. We have no right, any man has no right to bring that topic about anything at work or anything. This is just general things that we can do, right? On an individual level, what do we do on an individual level? When at college, because I'm at a university right now, at college, if there's some sort of inappropriate behavior or some unwanted touching, because it's so common here, right? Girls should not just shrug it off by saying, oh, boys will be boys. Do not. Call that out. It's not okay, right? Call that out. If you hear a sexist comment at a party or at a dinner, call that out. Do not be a bystander, a passive bystander who will just ignore all of this happening because you don't want to get involved. Get involved. Do your bit. Start the dialogue. If you intervene, if you stop, we need to start intervening. This is the problem. There's a lot of men in this room than there are women, but all of you need to intervene. if you see a friend of yours or a group of yours talking about women in a certain way, be the man who they start hating because you stood up for women, right? We need to bring an end to all this stuff. Sexism, we need to bring an end to this. So do your part, honestly. If you start doing your part, that's step one. And that is how we give voice to the voiceless, because that's how it's like buried underground, we don't even see it. So many people in this room who did not raise their hands have been sexually harassed, 90%. We need to deal with this. Now, I forgot most of what I had planned to say, but I'll just end with a video that would leave you guys kind of thinking about, but just a bit of an introduction. Do you guys know Nas, the travel blogger? Yeah. Nas Daily, right? Yeah. This is what happened with him and his wife. Could you please play the video? It's a 4-minute video.